Hello YouTube, my name is Panic Point, and today I bring news. Today I will show you the brand new gaming PC that I'll be using on the channel. Now, this is not the new gaming PC because it obviously looks very old. Here's the new gaming PC. Now, this newer computer uses a host of way newer parts than this computer, and I will be getting into the specs in just a few seconds here. This computer is better than the Dell, but the question is, how much better? And today, we're going to figure out just that. And without further ado, let's get right into the specs. I hope you're prepared for this epic showdown that isn't really a showdown and more of a massacre. I hope you enjoy. Oops, I actually ended up doing a boot race before showing the specs. Well, so much for that. Alright, first things first. A boot test. I always like to do a boot test with computers before I go into the specs or anything about that. So, let's begin. I got them just about at both the same time. The one on the left is the new PC, and the one on the right is the 2007 Dimension 9200. Now it looks like this one's already booted. Let's see if we can even log in before. That's about 16 seconds it took for this one to boot. Let's see how long it takes the Dell. I gotta be over here for the keyboard. Select Windows 10, still at 32 seconds. Okay, so it looks like that the Dell took around 30 seconds and this computer took around 15 seconds. That means that the boot time with an SSD with this current fleet of hardware and setup in this configuration, the boot time from going from my old computer to my new computer was cut in half. Since the boot time of the Dell was 30 seconds and the boot time of the new computer was only a mere 15. That's a good improvement. Computer A, which will be on the right-hand side of the screen, is our modern 2018 gaming PC. The computer specifications for this PC are as follows. The CPU is a Core i5 8th Gen 8400 CPU running at 2.8 GHz and turbos to 4 GHz. The memory in this computer is 16 GB, 2x8 configuration, DDR4 running at 2400 MHz, and it is G-Skill brand. The motherboard powering this beast is an ASRock Z370 Pro. The graphics system is a Crossfire setup with two AMD R9290 graphics cards, each with 4 GB of GDDR5 VRAM each in AMD Crossfire. And on paper, that's an identical equivalent of an NVIDIA GTX 1080. The power supply is an EVGA Supernova 750 watt power supply, fully modular. The storage system is a 120 GB SSD boot drive and a 1 TB 7200 RPM Western Digital hard drive, which I use to store all my games. The case is some RGB Cooler Master triple front fanned case that I got at Micro Center for around $60, which was a pretty good deal. And my CPU cooler, finally, was an H60 closed-loop water cooler, which I picked up for around $59.99 at Micro Center. And the total estimated cost of this computer was around $1,200. Not a bad deal, in my opinion. The specs for the PC from 2007 starts off with the case, a Dell XPS 410 BTX case. Yes, it is a Dell case. The CPU, which is locked, is an Intel Core 2 Quad QX6800 running at 2.93 GHz. It is a quad-core processor with 4 cores and 4 threads, and it uses the Socket 775 CPU socket, otherwise known as Socket T. And it also supports Intel SpeedStep. I'd like to mention that. So because it's so old, it actually makes it relevant that if it supports it or not, because some CPUs back then didn't. The memory in this computer is 8 GB of DDR2 RAM, running at 800 MHz in a 4x2 GB configuration. The current graphics card in this computer is a GTX 750 Ti, 2 GB GPU, GDDR5 type memory. The storage in this computer is a 2 TB 7200 RPM Seagate hard drive, and the motherboard at the heart of this beast is a 2007 Dell Dimension 9200 motherboard with a 8 MB cache and a 1066 MHz frontside bus speed. And last but not least, we have the 500 watt EVGA G3 Bronze Plus power supply at the heart of this 2007 beast. This is really the only part, aside from the 750 Ti, that is new. And now it's time for what you've all been waiting for. Let's cue the music and roll the benchmarks. I hope you enjoy.
Missing someone with all your own. Missing someone with heart. How much you miss it, and you deserve. From the start.
And here are the results, and they aren't in fact all that surprising. The new 2018 gaming PC smashed the 2007 Dell in every single benchmark and game I tested. So, would I recommend buying an older computer and modifying it to be a gaming PC? Absolutely not. But what I would recommend is for you to please save your money and just build a better, more all-round system that can more effectively handle games from the current time and is designed to handle those kinds of workloads. Because buying an older computer like this and modifying it just isn't monetarily worth it. I mean, the older architecture in these older CPUs isn't very well supported in modern games, and you have additional expenses such as having to throw a new graphics card in an older computer like this, and possibly even having to upgrade the power supply so it will be able to handle that graphics card. So the expense to reward ratio just isn't there. Anyways, I hope this video helped to educate any newer builders looking for advice on how to go about building their newer computer, because it is always smarter to build a more newer all-round system, and I hope I taught you that lesson. Peace.
And you did it right from the start.